Can you ever imagine what the world be like in 50 years? The future of humanity is a fascinating subject of analysis and speculation, far from science fiction. Physicists, linguists, philosophers, urban planners, and political scientists answer 20 questions about what life will be like, or could be like in 2073. We tell you in this video. But first, please like and subscribe to this channel, and then sit back and relax. What language will we speak? Will intelligent translators unify the language? Much is said about the advance of Chinese, even Spanish, and the challenge of English as a universal language. But does it make sense to keep asking yourself when it is increasingly common to see automatic translations? In the movie The Matrix, 1999, the protagonist learned a language just by downloading it to his head. That doesn't even sound sensible anymore. The technologies will do the translations, not the brain. Regarding global communication, the greater development of initiatives such as Google Translate will mean that it is not essential to learn languages to speak with people from other parts of the world or to get a job. In other words, there may be an aging of the bilingual population and a noticeable decrease in polyglots. People are going to stop using their money and their time in English, Russian, and Chinese classes, but they are going to speak these languages through their devices. Also, it is possible that the variety and heterogeneity of means to communicate will be accentuated, and that translations between different semiotic systems, such as image, text, sound, and also Braille, sign language, etc. Finally, it would be a great advance if more egalitarian ways were adopted to express diversities of all kinds, gender, culture, etc. Language not only transmits reality but builds it. How will we communicate? It is not the same to think about what language we will speak on what platforms or in what way we will do it. What will not happen, which many speculate, is that we communicate with thought, that we have electrodes that rate our brains and can transmit what we're thinking. But yes, that distance communication is going to be more similar to what we have when we speak in person. What we are not going to be able to communicate are the smells or the taste. Everything else is going to be closer and closer to reality, and it will surely have holograms or images very similar to one. What will the cities be like? The key elements of the architecture will not change, but how we will live in the city will. The presence of nature will advance over the cities, which will necessarily be greener. The shared economy will be a key part. Tools like Airbnb will have set a precedent. Dead spaces, idle parked cars, and empty apartments should be a thing of the past. There will be less and better used. In this aspect, they will be cities full of movement and vertigo, with autonomous cars going from here to there and solving density problems by dint of an intelligent ordering of resources. Cities where everything belongs to everyone, covered in green, permanently monitored. Every prognosis is always a possible lie thrown forward, but it is also an attempt at truth. How will we pay for things? In terms of payments, it will be biometric. Cards will no longer exist. Neither will wallets, but we also think that phones will be less. Everything will happen through the wrist or the iris of the eye, or with the fingerprint, which is the easiest and fastest, and very difficult to falsify. We tend towards integration between the electronic and the biological. This begins with the Internet of Things and wearables, where we carry things that monitor our health and are also methods of payment. We think we are heading towards a time where we may have an implant that not only checks our health in real time, but allow us to make payments or enter places being us. Which country will be the world's greatest power? Before going that far, one would have to imagine what the inter-hegemonic confrontation between the United States, China, and Russia would be like. If bipolarity is established as in the Cold War, having two powers on one side, the US on the other, this can extend for many years and manage to maintain a certain stability. Now, if there is a war between the United States and China, as John Mearsheimer, a renowned international relations theorist, puts it, we don't know how the world will go forward. First, one would have to ask what is going to happen in the next 10 years, they say. The American political scientist Graham Allison talks about the Thucydides trap. He says that just as the Peloponnesian War was sparked by Sparta's fear of Athens' expansion, the same could happen to the United States in the face of Chinese expansion. In what support will we read? Before, another question, will we read? If yes, how? Surely, we think that the idea of a spasmodic and fleeting reading will be consolidated against the act of calm reading that we had as a synonym for the activity of reading. In general, people who don't read use the difficult environment as an excuse. They say they need a remote cabin in the woods with a fire, a glass of brandy in hand. But in reality, the present time shows that reading is spasmodic because we read all the time. Social networks, information at a bus stop, nutritional information on a packet of cookies. So we understand that reading is an act that is in transition. It abandons the idea of cultural or educational consumption because one reads novels or manuals, and the form of communication between humans will become more and more hegemonic. Reading along with thinking are probably the 2 or 3 activities most inherent to being human that may exist. On the other hand, we believe that the book format will undergo a mutation because the enlarged book will allow us to share underlining, paragraphs, ideas, and impressions. Then, we will also have to ask ourselves if reading will change its form, if looking at an image in the future will be understood as reading and will no longer be assimilated to the verb to look. Finally, we think that the act of reading is going to stop being individual to be collective, as today is conversing. We think we are going to read more than ever because what was transmitted verbally before is now transmitted in writing, and perhaps that will give rise to a new system of codes that we still do not know, but that we will inevitably have to read. How far has artificial intelligence come? There is a famous turning point since Turing, the inventor of the computer, thought that we were never going to get there, but we think we're about to get there. It's the famous Turing test. If we communicate with someone through a chat, but we can't see their face, we can't know if we're talking to a human. But as much as they put the best artificial intelligence on the other side, today we're still going to find out. We think that we are going to pass that point. We are close. A conversation with a human being will be indistinguishable from that with a machine. That is going to be the main change 50 years from now, and we are going to rethink what is human in that sense. Computers begin to have intuition, what we once thought was intuition. Some time ago, we believed that what was human was intelligence, until computers began to play chess better than us, and we said, oh no, what was human was intuition. And now, computers, for example, in many games where intuition is necessary begin to behave better than us and have intuitions. They make moves that seem to have no explanation, but you realize it was a great long-term play. So if now they also have intuition, we will have to ask ourselves what is human and what is consciousness, and the time will come when we will ask ourselves if these computers have consciousness or not. Will terrorism have disappeared? A report about the terror in France stated that Islamic fundamentalism is responsible for the terrorist threat and that radicalization is due to the sharpening of identity politics. Regardless of who will carry out the terrorism, it seems that as long as the identity problems of the people continue, there will continue to be terrorism. The current map shows multiple conflicts in the identity of the people. The American theorists Schmid and Jommen write in Political Terrorism that there will continue to be a scenario in which the victims are chosen at random. According to them, violence tends to expand in our world and not contract. In this sense, it is impossible to think that terrorism will disappear. There are many ideas we've got on what the world would be like in 50 years, but we decided to end the video here for now. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, the subscription button, and the notification bell to get notified when new videos are uploaded from this channel. Please share your thoughts about what will the world look like in 50 years in the comment section below. Thank you.